Are you ready for the Low Blows Network? It's the show where you control what's on the agenda. Ask us anything and we're bound to answer. Starring Rick Nash, Corporate King, and the Queen of Irish Wrestling, Katie Harvey. It's Ask Low Blows. It's been a busy and emotional week, especially if you're a super fucking nerd like us. So, surprising as it is that in Avengers Endgame of Thrones week, that we've spent most of the week, especially the people here, Katie, except for Katie, we've spent the week arguing about pissing, and we've we piss about a lot on Low Blows. But the discussion that...
Me and Jerry don't piss out as much as you, apparently. So.
As we've been talking about Avengers Endgame, the more we talk about it, the more I need to go, right, guys? As we've been talking about Endgame, the big discussion online became, can people get through the movie without pissing? This started with Justy coming out and giving his side of things, which we'll briefly recap.
Yeah, I just think it's crazy that someone can't sit for 3 hours without having to get up for a piss. It's like, if you're really worried, like, piss beforehand. I get not everyone can piss on demand, so, like, yeah, I get that, and that it happens when it happens for some people. But hold it, like, hold your goddamn piss. It just. Do you get up in the middle of the fucking night? Like, do you get up every 3 hours for a piss? Like, kind of like, I don't know. Do you just lie there and piss yourself in the bed and change your sheets every morning? Or do you set an alarm for 3 hours and then you get up in the middle of the night? What happens if you're in a fucking, like, in school? Did you just, like, be like, well, it's piss time now, teacher, and then, like, just walk out and piss?
Try to be more subtle.
Like, there's been, what happens when someone says, no, you can't piss?
No, it's not that, like, I need to go within 3 hours all the time. It's that when I go to the cinema, I want to do it right, especially for Endgame. Like, I booked my tickets a couple of weeks ago. I knew what time I was going to be watching. I knew when I was going. I was cheat week for my diet, so I was like, I'm going to do this right. I'm going to get Krispy Kremes on my way there. I'm going to get a big fucking portion of fuck off nachos and cheese, and then I'm going to get
you do cheat week right,
liter of Coke.
This isn't doing the cinema right, though.
And
this is a lad sitting up in his fucking living room in the cinema.
I booked recliner seats, and they've a table where you can rest all your stuff on. It's perfect. I'm like, this is the way I want to watch it.
You fucking love yourself, don't
part
you?
Part of that was that I wanted to enjoy it all, and part of that is like, yeah, I want to be able to have my big liter of Coke with me, and that's what prompts it. And I think that's why this was the trending topic on Twitter during the week. Like,
which
people,
I'm befuddled by it,
because it's not that. It's that I'm gonna, if I want to drink, I'm gonna drink. I want to enjoy the movie. Yeah, but also as well, it's not as if I'm like dying to go. It's not as if I'm like, but my attitude is, in a 3 hour movie, if I'm feeling a twinge in hour one, I'm like, I bet by the time hour 3 goes around, like, someone's going to be fucking on the verge of death, and I'm going to go, no, I have to go. No, I'm not wetting this cinema seat, like, so I need to. So I'd rather just clear it off in the quiet times, and I recommend for anyone out there who suffers like me,
do some fucking Kegels.
For anyone out there, the Run P app is really helpful because it tells you the good times. You can press a thing at the start of the movie, and then it vibrates in your pocket when it's good.
2019 sickens my bollocks that you're coming out with this shit. That there's an app that tells you at what point that you can release your fucking urine because your bladder is fucking too sensitive. This is to a nerdy thing.
It's not that it's sensitive, it's that it's
the size
a
of a
good
fucking
time.
Terry's chocolate orange.
I don't get why it's a thing that it's like, I can hold my piss. Why is, like...
This isn't a brag.
It's not about holding your piss. It's the fact that you need to go. Like, hey, right.
So I need it instead of want it.
I go to the cinema, right? I have a piss beforehand, or I try at least having piss beforehand, okay?
Right.
So then I don't have to go during the thing. It's not like after hour one, like, oh, I'm fucking dying here, lads. I need a piss. Oh, where's that cup? I'm not leaving the cinema. It's that I don't need to go. It's not like I'm holding it for an hour or 2 hours.
If I needed to piss during Endgame, I would have pissed on the nice Japanese family that were ahead of me in the cinema because I wasn't leaving.
I think most people will come over to my side where it's like, Don't piss on the Japanese family.
I
don't think I'm the weird one here.
Are going to come over to my
I don't
side.
think I'm the weird one here.
Of course you're fucking weird. You can't fucking hold.
Because I don't piss on Japanese families.
No, I'm not. I was only saying.
You're going back into the realms of Katey and slavery here. Come back now, okay?
I am no Katie Harvey. How dare you, sir?
I'm not. I'm just. Like, I'm using an extreme example of what I would do to keep watching Endgame. So I would hold my motherfucking piss. I didn't need to piss, though, which, I'm not bragging. I'm not walking up here being like fucking Tormund, being like, you know why they call me Bladdersbane? Like, I'm just a human with a human bladder, and I don't see the issue. Like, honestly, some days I don't remember pissing at all.
How many times a day do you piss?
I don't know, like a normal amount, like.
Hold on, you don't get to say what's normal amount.
4 or 5 times throughout the day, maybe. That's not a lot. I don't know. I haven't kept count.
I could drink.
Depends on how much you drink.
I do, especially now. Like when I'm training, I'm drinking I drink about 4 or 5 liters of water a day.
Yeah.
Like if I'm in the gym that morning, if I'm in the gym that morning, I drink a liter alone in the gym.
You're drinking that much water.
But like,
you have to go.
Well, you can hold it though, Jerry. That's my point.
Why would you? Why would you sit in
the all that, like, for someone who's obviously you suffer from incontinence, and you're talking about. I
didn't want my podcast to be where it all came out, like.
Obviously,
there's an operation for that.
You've pointed out.
I'm not incontinent.
You've pointed out that you've put in all this preparation and a lot of hard peas happening in this microphone right now.
We need to get those pop filters.
But yeah, you've pointed out that you've put in a lot of preparation for going to see Endgame. You want to make it comfortable, but you didn't go and buy yourself adult diapers knowing that you've got a fucking leaky fucking faucet down there. Like.
It's not that I'm dying to piss. It's that it's like if I get a tiny twinge and I'm looking at Tony and Pepper go, we've got it really lucky. It's like I can, I can miss that 30 seconds and come back and be there for the parts that really matter. And then I'm comfortable and not worrying.
It all mattered.
And not uncomfortable throughout the movie.
Katie agree with her. It all mattered.
Yeah, it did all matter.
Katie, you're a girl.
What?
You're notoriously bad at holding piss. Your gender when it comes to.
Oh, I'm really good.
Between dudes and chicks.
Well, you've gone to see it. Did you need to go for piss?
No, I pee like twice a day.
But did you feel a twinge?
Did you like camel? Okay, I think I'm on your side now.
But did you at any point during the film be like, oh, I really need to go?
No, and I was drunk watching that.
Hey!
You were dehydrated. That makes more sense.
It's 3 versus 1. You're fucked.
You're lucky you didn't open the seal though halfway through the film.
I brought 4 bottles of Bulmers into the screen with me.
Nice.
I thought he met a night, but you met a fucking night.
Jesus, yeah.
I was shooting heroin at the back of the Savoy when I was watching it, so I beat you guys.
Right, okay, well, with this we'll rage on and on. We'll put up a poll on low blows. Let's settle this once and for all.
It won't settle anything because
get a sheepy.
Sheepy?
Yeah,
a sheepy.
Well, we don't need it because that
you could just put your dick in it. It'd be fine.
Yeah, well, that's got me in trouble before, Katie.
That's not always good logic.
A sheepy is a device for women so they can pee standing up.
You just basically.
I'm okay. I don't have a problem. I just
get a hose
like to be comfortable.
And a funnel, right?
I'm not asking for advice.
No, listen. I'm just get a hose and a funnel.
Just go to the doctor and get the fucking bag.
Shove the hose up your arse. Shove the hose up your arse. Piss from the funnel into your arse, and then hold it in your arse because it's easier to hold a shake than it is hold a piss.
There is no problem here. I'm fine. It's just
seems like a problem.
I think you're making it their problem because I needed to pee during Endgame.
Yeah, but
and this all started because I tried to help you. I'm like, download the Run Pee app if you need this.
And
you're like,
helpful for people who are incontinent. But we didn't need to go. Like I said to you during the week, I went to see the extended version of Lord of the Rings, all 3 films, 12 hours plus. I went for a piss beforehand, I went for a piss after the first film, and I went for a piss after the last film. So that was 3 pisses in total over the course of 12 and a half, 13 hours. It's because
did you drink?
I had 2 large drinks during that time. It's just I didn't need to go. Now maybe a thing there, you're skinnier than me, I'm a fat fucker, so my bladder is obviously bigger.
I don't think that's how. I don't think that's how fat works.
That's how it works. That's how it
I'd
works.
love if this was all like, oh, it's because I'm so skinny, but it's not.
I think you're thinking of the stomach. When you're fat, your stomach is bigger.
No, my bladder is huge. I got it enlarged. So I can go and watch
Enlarged
fucking Endgame
bladder.
for 3 hours long.
You should get that checked, man. Let's talk about
All right,
Endgame.
incontinence boy.
Let's talk about Endgame anyway. Right, the first question is, like, look, after Infinity Wars, after 21 fucking movies, this was the one that was supposed to wrap it up. Katie Harvey, from what you remember, it seems like a very drunken night for you. Did it live up to the hype for you?
Ah, yeah, it did. No, it was great. Like, I cried 5 times.
Really?
At one stage. List them. Oh, God. I cried during the fucking female Avengers scene during the battle, where all the girls were like, yeah, let's go.
Hate it.
I don't care what any man thinks about that.
Would you turn them into slaves?
No female slaves. That's her feminism has its fucking limits. Man.
Just men. No, I cried, obviously, when Black Widow died. I cried when Iron Man turned into an old man. I cried...
Whoa.
Whoa.
Oh, not Iron Man, sorry. Captain America turned into an old man.
Okay.
There was...
I don't know why I acted surprised. I'm like, oh, yeah, I've corrected you. And then I went, oh, that's why she was wrong.
There was one bit at the very... Oh, when Ant-Man came home and saw his daughter. Yeah. That was the one that set me off.
Yeah.
Like 5? So what is it? It was 5 years on? But the last time he saw her, she was like itty-bitty.
Yeah.
She's a big fucking 13-year-old then. Like
That's fucking, like, that
She
is
looked like she
proper
was 16.
emotional the more you think about it as well. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
he's missed all those years and only
Because
realised
when he saw his name on the thing, because when he was looking for his daughter's name, and then he saw his own name, and I was kind of I was kind of like, oh, don't start me now, Endgame. I'm not gonna, don't start me now. And then the daughter fucking comes to the door when he knocks on the door. I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch,
here's the weird thing. Like, Marvel is kind of in the second tier of my nerdy thing. So it's like wrestling, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, and then it'd be Marvel, Star Wars, say. I've never cried at Game of Thrones.
Never.
No, I've
never, because I'm just too fucking tense watching
all
it
the time,
to have that release.
Yeah.
It's too shocking.
Whereas with Marvel, I cried twice during this movie. Like, it's mad. Like, I had like,
And you still needed a piss? Wow.
I
Where
know.
were your fluids going?
I was
not
3
living
times.
this down.
I cried 3 times.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't count.
And it was
but
all
like,
within the last 20 minutes. The 3 times. It was like
That sounds like one long cry.
No.
With
It
breaks.
was Spider-Man's reunion. with
Right.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
That was like,
That got
was
me.
pretty
Maybe
good.
3
Because
actually.
I knew at that point it was just like, oh, he's gonna die, isn't he? Is. And then he died. I'm like, oh, he fucking died. And then the fucking his heart, his fucking first reactor that says proof Tony Stark has a heart floats down the river. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, why do you keep doing this to me?
Yeah.
I don't know why I took my glass off. I'm not actually crying now.
Just you. What else got you apart from Ant-Man?
A lot of stuff got me. It's not like I'm not a big crying, but like I will, like a tear will drop.
Yeah, I've
and
man
I'll be-
sobs.
Yeah,
like.
so so like when you talk about like I don't know how many times I cried because I was immersed. So I wasn't like I didn't have a clicker being like, right, that's one I get to tell the guys on the podcast. But like if I it's when ye people start talking about when ye cry and I'm like, oh fuck yeah. Captain definitely. And I won't, because I fucking, and we were going to have this out, Katie, I fucking hate Captain America because he's the goody, he's the Cena, he's the goody two-shoes, he's the guy whose arc is as straight as a fucking Chelsea fan. I think he's, I think his arc is straighter than toxic masculinity. It's like, it's a fucking... He's good, he gets gooder, he's good again, and then he's good at the end. But I loved the fact that, and it was, if you look, there was a juxtaposition there for Tony and Captain at the end, and that's what kind of got me. Tony's lovely ending was, he made a lot of mistakes. A lot of people died because of Tony. He wasn't a character that was redeemed very often. You can like him, but at the end of the day, he's not likable, you know? And it turns out he was the one that sacrificed himself for everybody. So, and he had the most to lose.
Yeah.
So he was the ultimate hero. The thing that got me with Captain was he was that guy all the way through it. All the way through this thing, he was the guy that if there was a grenade, he was the guy jumping on it. He wanted to fight, even though he was a skinny little bitch from Queens.
Yeah.
Is it Queens, Katie?
Yes.
the fact that in the end, what happened with him was he made a selfish decision, not a selfless decision. And it was something that popped me because I said, this guy, who I'm supposed to hate, is now taking some time for himself.
Yeah.
Let's not get into the fucking fact that they absolutely butchered the reality of fucking time travel when it comes to Cap actually coming back. We'll get there. But without thinking too much on it, the fact when he just showed up, and it wasn't even when he had the chat with Falcon, it was just him when he just showed up and when it showed his wedding ring on his hand. I don't know, I don't know why I don't think I'm a very romantic person in real life, but when it comes to romantic stuff happening, just the wedding ring on the finger, I was like,
yeah,
he got his fucking happiness, fucking his happiness.
I agree with Justy. I didn't like Captain America. I liked Captain America films. I just didn't like the character.
Yeah, I was saying.
I discussed this with Katie last week on Talk Nerd.
We decided he was wrong.
Okay. Well, this might surprise you then, because this film made me like Captain America.
He was one of my favourites in this whole film. And there's a lot of guys there.
And it was it wasn't only like the kind of switcheroo that he did with Iron Man. It wasn't only that. It was the fact that he finally, after 22 Marvel films, said shit.
He got
he was like, he's fucking human. Okay, I like him.
And he got a bit of humour in himself.
Yeah. I love that. That is America's ass.
That's an unbelievable line. But the number one thing that fucking I was like, yeah, Captain America, he's me now, was when himself was like, I can do this all day, and he was like, he got like, yeah, I get it, and like he was kind of like, yeah, I get it, Cena. He's saying like, you're too good. Yeah. So he's the jaded Captain America that has gone through all the Accords and all this kind of bullshit. He's been outlawed. He's no matter all the time, all he wanted to do was good, and he's been seen as he's Roman Reigns. Yeah. He's like, I'm trying my best here, guys, but everyone's still going boo. Like, and I don't mean the audience, I mean like in the films, everyone's like, Captain America, like you're a son of a bitch because you don't want to play by the rules, and he's like, oh no, fucking, like you can see he's been worn down. And Endgame was the culmination of his fucking thing. Was like he looks back at himself as this guy that I loathe, this goody two-shoes who's fucking forever doing the right thing, and he groans at it. Like it's fucking, he rolls his eyes at himself. Yeah. So it's a self-awareness in this movie, and I love that moment.
Katie, you must be sitting there pretty fucking smug after all this. Everyone's going around to Team Cap.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's on Team Cap now because he's the best. And I don't understand why people don't just love heroes who just try to do the right thing.
Well, can you not see that when your arc is a straight line, then I don't like this is what I think you have the emotional intelligence of a tadpole, because it was when we were discussing Game of Thrones as well. You're like, Dany's bad. No, she's not. You fucking idiot.
I never said Dany was bad. I said I didn't like her.
You didn't like her because she did bad things. And then all your reasons. Yeah, because she did this, because she did that, because she did that. She has redeeming qualities as well. Captain had no irredeemable.
So why is that a bad thing?
Because yeah.
I don't like shades of grey.
If he was a guy, well, really? Because I thought you would have got off on that book. It's just a thing for me, right? Captain America, if he was my buddy, I'd love it because I depend on that guy. If I need some milk, I'll go to Captain America's house. If I need someone to fucking save me from a fucking fight against a superhero or supervillain, I'll go to Captain America's house. If I want to watch someone on screen, I don't want to watch a predictable goody two shoes fucking doing the right thing.
But that's why I love him. He is someone you want in your life. He is someone you want to know in real life, and he's someone who makes the people around him be better. Why? Like, that's a great thing to aspire to.
But he's not someone I want to, like... Oh, Jesus,
it's different levels of...
Understand complexities of fucking character.
It's different levels. It's different levels of watching, I think, where it's like Katie's looking at it from the standpoint of she gets emotionally invested in the characters themselves, where like she's not looking at them from a three-dimensional standpoint. She's looking at them. This is who I want to hang out with. This is who I want to be around. I think. Whereas you're looking at it from, say, a script writing standpoint, where you're like the story of this character's
arc. I hate looking at things like, because I was saying it on Jerry's podcast. I have a I have diploma in TV and film production. I used to write scripts. I've worked on TV shows.
How are you so stupid at talking about it then?
And I choose to ignore all that when I watch TV. The reason why I didn't pursue that career was because it ruined TV and films for me.
Yeah. Like how becoming a wrestler ruined wrestling for you.
I was on Vikings. I can't watch that show. I tried to watch that show and I can't because I know all the backstage shit. I know how they put it together.
Yeah.
And it was a great show when I watched it in season 1, and then I worked on season 2 and 3, and I couldn't watch it anymore.
Yeah, I totally get that as well. Same with wrestling. I did go away from wrestling for a while and reteach myself how to be a fan because I had that.
I still haven't. So when I I get excited about wrestling in different ways than I used to do. I think about wrestling in a different way than I used to, and I'd hate for that to be how I'm. I think wrestling has ruined a lot of fucking media. When it comes to, you look at stuff in the way a wrestler looks at stuff.
Yeah.
Like when you look at fucking television and you're like, oh, he popped me, or oh, that's his big comeback, well, that's the whole spot there. I mean, we just discuss it like Captain America is the Roman Reigns. And, we talk about it like that.
Everything is wrestling.
I get what you're saying, but I think there's just more layers and more levels of the enjoyment when you. When I won't speak for everybody because Kate, you obviously have a different, not a totally different view, but you like to
different relationship.
But see, what I love isn't even exactly about Captain America. It's his interactions with everyone around him. As I said, he makes people be better. So I don't like just seeing Captain America on screen. I like seeing Captain America and Black Widow on screen together because I like how they interact. Because I like how people react to his character. Because it is so rare to have that pure person.
Not a lot of friction though, Katie, when it comes to any character in Captain America.
But Tony Stark then was a great foil for him because it was all of that. It was the two things. It's like when you get a John Cena against a CM Punk or an RVD or a Daniel Bryan, and it's like the interaction there of having this do-gooder, but then it's like the cool person that everyone likes. So I see what you're saying.
I do believe you needed Captain America, and I do think that over this whole thing, especially when it came to Endgame, there, because honestly. Cap is probably my favourite. Oh, fuck. Captain America is probably my favourite in Endgame.
Right.
Fuck me. Gee, that's a stark
big
realisation for me.
For Team Harvey today.
But because his character grew. And it's the first time I've seen his character grow out of... he obviously he was learning and growing as the whole thing went on, but it's just in Endgame where I realised that he's kind of on my side of how I view Captain America.
Yeah.
So he looked at it as kind of a cynical, older, jaded version of himself, looking back at this fucking rootin' tootin' fucking let's get the Tesseract Captain America, and I kind of now I sided with Captain America with my contempt for Captain America if it's. It
was meta in that way, but it's great. Well, let's talk about character changes as well, because he's not the only one who has grown and changed over the thing, and we saw it very visible. We saw Fat Thor Lebowski.
That was amazing. And that's so realistic, because the amount of shit he's been through, the amount of people he's lost, everything.
And he's always been chipper.
Yeah.
He's always been, because even if you watch his interactions with the Guardians in Infinity War, when he starts talking about he had to kill his father, and he had to kill his brother. His brother tried to kill him a couple of times. Oh, my mother's dead. And then, he's realising as he's saying it, he's getting kind of more somber as he says things, and then he picks himself up by going, oh, well, and then, well, let's go kill Thanos. And it's kind of there's as much as, even, Ragnarok, fucking made me fall in love with Thor all over again. The Dark World was, and I don't want to shit all over it like most people will shit all over Dark World, but Ragnarok was the fucking absolute.
They got it,
and it was they incorporate so many things that I wanted to they made a Planet Hulk. They had the Grandmaster, and they made him the greatest actor who could have played played the Grandmaster. And I'm just big. I just love the fact that you've got the Collector and the Grandmaster in this universe, and there's a great story behind them being brothers. And I'm not that nerdy that I'm mad into the comics and stuff like that, but I love those outlines of things. I loved Ragnarok like that. But the number one thing I loved Ragnarok for was the fact that they made Thor not a comedy character, but someone that you had a fondness for because he was fun.
Yeah.
Not that you were laughing at him. He was just he was a fun character, and it was a fun movie, and he fits perfectly in with my favorite Marvel movies, which are the Guardians of the Galaxy, because there's so much comedy.
So good.
The depth of characters is fucking. It just warms your heart for me. And the fact that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 may have Thor as Guardians of the Galaxy, which is one of the.
I'm all in for that.
Oh man,
I'm all in, especially Fat Thor. Perfect,
Thor.
Brilliant.
The way I see that going is that the three big guys. You've got the Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, and Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. wanted to do more, but obviously they said, well, no, actually, we're killing you off. I'm really sorry, we can't give you more. Chris Evans didn't want to do more. So his contract expired, well, not expired, but he finished up his contract and done. Hemsworth is like...
He better come back for another fucking film to explain how he was able to come back in a different fucking... Anyways, let's just...
He just knew what time that was going to be.
But it's a different timeline.
Oh, yeah.
We're not talking about fucking... it's fractured timelines.
He obviously had to have a secret relationship with Miss Carter.
But did he... Guys,
let's talk about this in a minute. Let's talk about Thor now, because I have to get into fucking time travel now in a minute.
The whole thing, like, Chris Hemsworth has been really, really going for, I want 4. They're like, well, we can't really give you 4. It's not in the schedule. It was like, wait, what if we slot you into the Guardians of the Galaxy and have it that way? And the whole idea, I think that, now, I was talking to another guy who's on my show before, Vic Viper. He told me during the week he believes he's been slotted into the Guardians of the Galaxy because the Guardians of the Galaxy in the third one looks like they're going to bring in Adam Warlock. Right. He was hinted at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Right at the end credit scene when, you know, it's like this big sarcophagus and they say, this is Adam. And you're like, oh, I hadn't a clue who that was because I don't read the comics, but then Vic came to me and said, no, that's Adam Warlock. He's supposed to be like one of the most powerful beings in all of Marvel.
It's not how he was created in the beginning, but it's clever. It's a clever way of doing it.
But they said if you have Adam Warlock going up against the normal Guardians, it's just going to kick their asses. So you needed this superhuman to be there, and I was like, it's perfect to have Thor there. What I want to know is he still going to have the good? He
should, but he should still have the power as well. Like,
I don't know if he's going to have. I think there could be if he doesn't have the. Or if he does have the guts still, I think they're going to make a deal about him getting into shape.
Yeah,
I think so. Like,
just to threaten Chris Pratt, like just to threaten. Yeah. He's gonna be like, or they could open with him just doing fucking crunches and like rip to shreds, and Star-Lord's just like, I can do that. Yeah. I can do it. I just choose not to.
Eating a sandwich as he walks into the room and being like,
just puts it down.
What Rocket's line in Infinity War is, you're one sandwich away from being fat. Because he was looking at Thor.
Amazing. What do we think of Hulk as well? There's another kind of dramatic character change. Were we a fan of it? Were we not?
Yeah, I loved it. Like, it reminded me of, like, I don't know, more the Hulk in the TV show from the 70s. I loved it. But, like, Hulk is always better as a guest star in other people's films. So,
now, that's not necessarily, like, it's just because they made one really bad, well, they made a couple of bad Hulk films, but in this MCU, they made it, like, if you had fucking Tiger Waititi or whatever his fucking name is, he made a Hulk film, it'd be fucking fantastic.
Yeah, but he hasn't, so
I understand. Alright, don't fucking hit me up. But when you
say... fair, you've been saying she's pro-slavery for 3 hours. She's you a dig or two back.
But when you say he's better in films, it's only been so far. There could be a Hulk film that he's fucking great in, like, and I
would we be up for that after?
I hope they, I love the Hulk card, and I hope they do. But like, my favorite appearance of all of his has been in Ragnarok.
So good.
And like, he was essentially like a guest star in Thor's film. So this was more the Ragnarok Hulk in this one. So I really, really liked it. And
Hulk
I hope they do
personality.
more.
I kind of agree with you there, but what I really wanted to see was, like, what was the very first scene from Infinity War, that the Hulk gets his ass kicked. I really wanted him to see him come back and have even a bit of a proper fight with Thanos, and we never got that.
Yeah, and you feel like as well, this is like 2012 Thanos, so it's like he didn't have the Infinity Gauntlet then, so it'd actually be more of a 50-50. I would have liked to see that fight, because again, this is not invincible.
Thanos had fucking no stones.
Exactly.
When he beat Hulk up the first time.
Did he?
None. Not one.
That was the first one at the...
Yeah, the first one that got was the Tesseract. Was the power... Or the
no,
but did he not have one at that stage? No.
He had one.
I think
he got one off the fucking... He got the one off the Collector, Power Stone.
Yeah,
yeah, so there, that makes sense.
Not the Collector, no. It was the ones that were being... The Nova. The Nova Corps.
The Nova Corps, sorry, yeah.
The Nova Corps, they had
the one that Quill fucking took, sorry, he got it off the collector, but he's...
Alright, so let's get into it.
No, Quill got it off that fucking planet and then gave it to the collector, and then your one tried to grab it, and then fucking it blew up and it killed nowhere, and everything went to shit. Sorry, I wanted to clear that up just so people don't think I don't know where...
Let's get into one. Time travel. For me, I'm okay with time travel, no matter how they want to use it. I'm like, it's bollocks. If I think about it too hard, I'm going to think a reason to say it's bollocks. So just tell me your rules. How is time travel being used here? And I have to admit, I liked how they got into it, and they're like, no, it's not like Back to the Future. You tell me Back to the Future's bullshit? Yeah.
Back to the Future's a crock of shit.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. And then I loved what they did with it, because this is what I loved about this movie, because they subverted you. Like, they had Thanos killed off within the first few minutes. It was amazing. They had Captain Marvel not be that big of a deal. Like, she
I must go to my home planet now.
That was the thing that I was afraid of the most. And I think, like, my wife has talked to me, and she went to see Infinity War after I seen it. And she said to me, she's like, didn't really like it that much. And I was like, what? I said, you're literally the one person on the planet that didn't like it.
It was perfect.
She was like, no, it's not, like, there were bits in it, it was great, and I was all brilliant and all, but like Captain Marvel was pointless in it because she didn't do anything, and, you know, you didn't hear half the characters talk. It's like, that's the point. It's about the Avengers. It's about, like, ending the arcs of the best heroes that's been in the series so far. So it was going to be pinpointed on those guys. It's going to be about Thor.
Captain Marvel is only setting up for
the next Avengers or however they go.
Like, well, I don't like the Captain Marvel movie. I said, well, you're not alone there. A lot of people don't like it because it was literally just a filler movie. You had to be introduced to her before she came into Endgame. I said, but when comes to Captain Marvel 2, it's going to be absolutely epic.
Yeah, and then they brought her in at the start, obviously saved Tony. Oh, by the way, guys, it's going to be spoilers.
Spoiler!
They brought her in at the start, and she obviously saved Tony, and then showed how powerful she was. So it's like, yeah, Captain America, you can still do all that cool stuff, but then she's like, all right, I've got a lot of shit to deal with. Yeah. It was believable, it was fine. But then they got into the time travel, and that allowed us to get in. This is my fear in watching the trailers and all the marketing and the build-up. I'm like, I'm not up for a 3-hour mopey movie. I like the Avengers because there's humor, there's laughs, there's capers, there's this, there's that. So the time travel element for me allowed that to happen. Was it problematic? Time travel can't be problematic because it's not possible, and ask more questions than answers. But I'm okay turning my brain off.
Don't just fucking come out with a blanket statement like it's not possible.
We can't get
in your opinion.
We can't. Okay, right. In my opinion, we can't get into that now. Let's talk about time travel in the Avengers. Did it work? Didn't it? How do people feel?
I thought it worked.
It worked,
especially with the stuff in New York, because I thought that was great. The fact that Captain America thought that Captain America was Loki, I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah. Did he not think he was a Skrull? Was that not?
No, he thought he's like, I have eyes on Loki. He goes literally.
Oh, okay. Because I thought he said I thought when they were fighting and it was back, he goes, I know a Skrull anywhere. I could have just made that completely up because I was holding back. I was holding back a piss and I wasn't able to concentrate.
You know what? I knew what happened then. Do you know what I loved about the New York scene? I loved how they got to the next scene in theory after the original Avengers would have ended, and it just showed the cleanup and the administrative side where they're all just making small talk and they're like boxing up all the stuff and they're like, so you watching the game later? I was like, yes, this is fucking this is a nice Easter egg. I love that
scene where like you see angry Thor going around just smashing up everything, and then Professor Thor is just like,
he chose the moped.
I was like, for fuck's sake, just destroy something.
I think my favourite of all of it was when Star-Lord is on the planet getting the fucking Power Stone for the first time, and fucking War Machine and Nebula are watching him, and it's like, because I heard the music and I just turned around to my missus and punched her in the shoulder, and she was very upset with me. She knew what was going on. She knew why I was excited, but like probably don't punch her in the shoulder. So I was like, Star-Lord, and she was like, yeah, I'm not that invested, and I know it's Star-Lord. So I was like, wait till he sings into the rat. Wait till he sings into the rat, because kicked her rat and she popped. And I was like, well, he sings into the rat. And she goes, I know. I was like, all right, okay. So, but it was when he started singing so out of tune by himself, and I was like, oh, that's what it would be like. It's not as cool if we were there.
Yeah.
So it's like that we were watching it on a film, and then War Machine goes, so he's an idiot. And Nebula's like, yeah, pretty much. One shot knockout, and then because he was badass in that scene in Guardians of the Galaxy. It's the opening scene to Guardians of the Galaxy when he fucking uses all his gadgets to fucking beat Ronan's guys, gets on his fucking ship, flies away, Barit's in the ship, and he's doing his whole, look, I'm a player, I'm also really cool, and I'm a real outlaw. And in this one, he's just a nerd who's singing our key and then gets hit with one shot. Like, so.
If you just turn the camera the other way, it has a completely different perspective
it's like
on
what
all
Katie's
of it.
saying about Vikings. Like she can't watch Vikings anymore. It's like it's the other. It's like, look how cool that guy is. But then when you turn like 180 degrees and you're looking at him, like, that's just a nerd who got lucky with some gadgets.
Loved it. What was your thoughts on the journey back through the MCU?
Oh yeah, I loved it. I love the one with Iron Man and Cap going back to the base and the conversation Iron Man has with his father. Actually, that might be the other time I cried.
That's an emotional one.
Yeah, and then like obviously when you know what happens at the end, then like it's just it's so lovely they got to have that conversation because that's something that's like eating him alive for years.
Bit there though, and like you talk about the whole foreshadowing in Game of Thrones and all that, but when he goes and he hides in the office and like, Peggy's office, what?
Yeah.
And then he sees her and she's like, oh, you have to have some sort of happy ending. I didn't
get
that fucking happy.
Yeah.
I was raging because my missus figured out, because I'm a fucker trying to stay ahead of the script.
Yeah.
Fucking always trying to guess. Like, so I'm like, if I can guess what's happening in the next 5 seconds, I'm fucking delighted with myself. But just as Captain was gonna leave and not he was gonna go up to the past, do his whole thing of grow old in the past and all this kind of stuff, I heard and as she done that, I went, bitch! She figured it out just before me. I was raging. It didn't really, that was for me, because she paid more attention to that kind of stuff. Yeah. Than I, and which
sometimes the fresh eyes can be good though, because you're not invested in.
She's been getting dragged since Guardians. So she's seen all the recent ones. She's seen Black Panther. She's seen all. So she knows the characters, but she's not immersed I am in it. So for me to have her figure out something that is it's pretty, it was blatant at that stage. Yeah. It was. I won't say blatant, but it was something I should have picked up on before her. Yeah. And when she got it, I was kind of a little bit I was like, bitch, and then I was like, but I'm glad that she's in the film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's not just kind of thinking about what am I going to have for dinner tomorrow?
Yeah. You know what I mean?
That she was really
turned her.
but
basically.
But also as well, it's when you're invested that deep, you're also invested in certain outcomes, so you're looking for them. Whereas if you look at it with a slight step back and the fresh eyes, you might be able to see those things coming. So that makes sense. In the time travel, it led to Nebula kind of being the main character in this movie, which
pretty good.
I don't think anyone saw coming.
No,
I certainly didn't.
What did we think?
I think they used it really well.
Yeah, I didn't like her in the other movies. I'm like,
oh, you didn't like her in Guardians 2? She's phenomenal.
She's okay in it. I was like, she wouldn't have been my favorite.
It was a nice B story, I thought.
Yes,
it was a nice B story. It's like she is grand in the second tier, and they bumped her up to the main event without asking for anyone's permission. When we're saying goodbye to a lot of heavy hitters. Yeah. And it worked.
Oh, it worked.
Ballsy as fuck,
Yeah.
I thought she was
really,
pretty.
It was it was like when they brought Jeff Hardy into the main event scene against the Undertaker. Yeah. And you're like, this isn't going to work, and then it did work. Even though I hate Jeff Hardy and I hope he dies. I don't hope he dies. I don't hope he dies. I just think he can't.
He's very injured now, so
I like Jeff Hardy. I'm just not. He was never my favorite. Matt Hardy was always my favorite. Anyways, Gamora was always my favorite. For me, the Nebula thing was just a real clever way of getting Thanos around, but using Nebula was it was great because her character development in Guardians 2 was phenomenal because her and Gamora had kind of buddied up a little bit, and then when she comes back to fucking meet and Gamora from fucking 2012, she's like, we're friends now. And Gamora's like, I don't believe you because you're Nebula. There's no way you'd change. Whatever about me, because she was having the second thoughts about leaving Thanos anyways, but like she was like, never would Nebula leave.
Can
like,
I just
so.
point something out? That was the best impersonation we've heard today so far.
Really?
You as Nebula.
I couldn't do it again if I tried.
Game of Thrones, we were talking about Battle of Winterfell earlier, got a lot of shit for main characters not dying. Now, we were all okay with what happened in the end, we discussed it obviously, but here, this was expected. Like, it was like, alright, it's Endgame, it's called that. And, like, to get these emotional punches, you have to have a lot of people going off the map, and you have to rebuild about the people. Obviously, you had everyone coming back in the end, and we're building around what Phase 4 is going to be when Marvel get to that. In the end, we just got Black Widow, Tony Stark, and Captain. And even then, it's not like we didn't get a death for Captain America. We just got where we're like, right, we won't see him again, but he lived happily ever after. Is that enough after like 2 movies that are the culmination of 22 movies? Is that, like, personally, I didn't feel slighted or shortchanged, but also when I look at my expectations going in, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe they could have done more.
I expected more, and my pick for who was actually going to die was completely off.
I was going to say, like, who would you pick? Like?
I was going to, I had, and I talked to Katie about this, I had Captain dying. Being the out-and-out hero, he's going to be the one to die at the end. And I thought, Tony is going to have this family, and he was like, well, okay, listen, I can't do this anymore. I can't be the one to be there for everyone. So I'm going to take a back seat. I'll be like the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. or some shit like that. Or I'll be like the little professor working in the office or whatever. Because I genuinely thought, we've got more Spider-Man, and he was Spider-Man's mentor. So I was like, we're going to see him with Spider-Man. He's going to make more suits for him and blah-de-blah-de-blah. And that's gone. I'm like, oh, fuck, my predictions for this were completely gone.
Yeah.
I thought maybe we would see 2 or 3 more deaths. I thought maybe you would see Hawkeye being the one to die.
I didn't see scene one. When he was in the first scene, I said he's going to be the guy at the end that survives and hugs his family. Because I thought that was a little...
They had to pay that off once they did that.
But they've done the opposite with... They kind of... As we were talking about when the juxtaposition between Captain and Tony, I think it's the same thing with Hawkeye and Tony. When you've got a guy has his family, a guy doesn't have his family. The guy sacrifices himself for everyone. Then this guy has his family back because of what that guy done.
Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, I'm gonna like Black Widow as well. Going, that was an amazing twist because she was one of the people where like. She's got to move you. Yeah. We're smart. We know the contracts. Ha 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 ha. You're not going to kill Black Widow. But then, holy fuck, was that another crying moment for you?
I was fucking devastated. If you listen to my podcast with Gerry, I talked for an hour about how I adore Black Widow, and I was really excited for it.
She's your favourite.
We had discussed how there was a Black Widow, either a Black Widow movie or a Black Widow series coming out. We're not entirely sure exactly what's happening.
I think it's a prequel movie they've confirmed.
But a prequel will be deadly because we don't know her backstory in detail, so there's a lot of good stories.
Do you know that they even said it in the movie? Is it Bangkok or like?
Oh, what
they
did?
They talk about between her and Clint. They talk about it. Yeah, I forget.
I need to see it again. I'm going on Friday.
I love the fact that her and Clint, her and Hawkeye are always fighting. Like so, when it comes down to it, there's always, and it was a lovely. It was basically they done it in a way that the send off. Like if one of them was dying, it had to be in a fight with the other one, and like they don't like not that they had to be in a fight with the other. I don't think one was going to kill the other because there was no. But it was they had to be with each other because they are the kind of the 2 Avengers that are like the red-headed stepchildren of the Avengers of like you shoot arrows and you're pretty good with your legs. They're
not superheroes. They're just heroes.
They are advanced humans, but they're not like at the same level as if we talk about tier 2. These guys are probably the tier 2 of the Avengers.
If you worked hard enough, you could be Hawkeye or Black Widow. You could never be fucking Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like,
So like with them, if you like, I couldn't pick out the films now, but they were obviously Civil War was a good one. But the fact that fucking. Like, they're always going to be fighting each other. Like, but when you look back at who was always fighting with who, Hawkeye and Natasha were always at odds. And when it came down, they were fighting not to survive. They were fighting to sacrifice. And it was a really emotional moment for the 2 of them because even when it comes down to play fighting or whatever with the guys, it always seems to be them 2 who paired off.
Yeah.
And I just think it was a fucking lovely little ending for... I at that stage, when it happened, I kind of said, she's going here. Because he's got more to lose. And yeah, that would be upsetting right now, but I think there's a payoff for him, especially with the way the first scene opened. So I'm not saying, like, I was still surprised that, like, I knew, like, when they showed up and fucking Red Skull was there, I was like, well, someone's gonna die here. One of the two is gonna die.
But you know what confused me? They went back to bring the Soul Stones back to the point where they took them.
Yeah.
So would they not got her soul back if they replaced the Soul Stone?
No, because it's not about getting her soul back. It's that she had to sacrifice herself, so that is she was dead.
So then I wouldn't have given the Soul Stone back, because now someone else is just going to have to die if they ever need it again.
No, to give the Soul Stone back to allow Thanos to get.
It's a different timeline that you're fixing.
To reset the timeline. This is time travel.
This is right.
No, you know I don't believe. You know I don't believe in science, so there's no point in talking.
Don't
to me
believe in science. Oh God.
I flat earther. So Katie Harvey.
Every time they went back in time, they created a new timeline. It's a paradox here that you can't go back in time and affect what's happening in our future now. So if I went back in time and shot my former, like my past self, I wouldn't die. Butterfly effect is kind of like what you do if you go to the past. It'll create ripples in the future. But I'm talking about like the Looper paradox, where if you come back and you kill yourself, do you disappear? Well, no, you don't, because you've now just created a different timeline. And you can't ever go back to a point where like you're going to fix that, because you have to go either before or after it, and that thing has already happened. You can't change. If you go back and change it again, you've just created another fracture in time. And there's another timeline.
And there can be infinite timelines, but because of the technology Stark has, they can get back to the original timeline, so they can take items with them to that, because they needed to.
Stark figured it when they're talking about it, and they're talking about the why they were fucking up the. Why Hulk was fucking up with the 93-year-old and the 7-year-old Ant-Man coming out, which is pretty funny.
Yes,
because they hadn't.
Someone peed my pants.
But the reason why they hadn't sorted that, like, again, this is only me going on fucking like this is how I believe time travel should work.
Yeah.
But they hadn't sorted out the kinks, and the thing that when Tony Stark shows up, he explains to them, listen, there's, like, you can't do the Back to the Future stuff. You can't affect yourself in the past. That's a different version of you, because you've now fractured the timelines. So in that future, someone has just jumped into a time machine and disappeared, and that's them gone. When they come back, you're a different person from a different fucking timeline altogether. Like, it's so fucking confusing and fucked up that's the reason why the Captain thing is it couldn't have happened. So, like, they're going to have to explain this at some stage. So, if Captain jumped back to the past, he jumped back to the past, or he stayed in the past, that was a different timeline, and he shouldn't have showed up where he did.
He wouldn't have been there.
I just assumed there was two Captain Americas now.
No, but the Captain America from this timeline disappeared to a different timeline, because he went back to the past, quit existing here, and unless he came from another reality, from another time, and then landed here as an old man, that's the only way he could have shown up.
Maybe he went back in time and, like, made friends with, like, Tony Stark's dad and figured it out.
That's true as well. And
then came up if you know something's possible, then you can figure it out. Like, this is it. Let's talk about the battle. Like, for me, like, I saw you put a similar tweet about this. It's not healthy to watch that battle and Winterfell in the same week, because it was a true right. And apologies, Katie, the only part I didn't like about it was when all the girls came together and they're like, let's do this, we're all friends because we have vaginas.
Now, I did cry, but I also understand.
I think that's an overreaction.
What? Because I had a big argument with LJ Cleary about this last night, and I will never admit it to his face, but I kind of agree with him about this, about how they seen how it worked well in the first film, so they slotted it into the second film, and it's like
I don't think they slotted it. They got a fucking.
It didn't feel
wedged.
It didn't feel as authentic as it did in the first film, and then someone else like, oh, but it's a reference to the female Avengers from the comic because they might do that film. I'm like, is that a story you planted because people are saying like that's a bit forced?
Yeah, I think look, it worked on you I rationalized it when it happened by literally thinking back to your interview with Gerry last week and how you're like, I don't want it to be ham-fisted, but they need to do that because like young girls watching don't see themselves. So
it's not for you or me.
They tick that box. It wasn't for me. It was the only part that I wasn't mad on, but I'm not going to shit on it.
No, what I will complain about is they had Okaya from Black Panther on all the promotional materials, and she was barely in the film. Yeah, and like they.
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of fucking his missus. What's her name? Fucking. Not sure. Yeah, she wasn't in the thing at all. I understand why she wasn't, because she's a spy, not a warrior, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, but Okaya was in it briefly. I think she had something like less than 3 minutes of screen time, but she was on the poster. She had her name in the headline. She was doing all the press release.
The same could be said for Captain Marvel. She was barely in it.
There's so much.
With her, there was even less.
Who got one I Am Groot in the whole fucking thing, guys?
There's so much to get in, though. Like, you had, like, I saw it described as every famous person in the world was on screen at once. It's just like, when they did that scene with the comeback, like, that. Sorry, go ahead.
The reason they're having problems with this is they've kind of been pushing her as an no, this is just from what I was reading, as an LBGT character.
Right.
So they thought they were using her to hook into that market and then not using her in the film. I'll have to read the article again.
They had actually their first ever like openly gay character in the meeting with Captain America in the counseling session where a guy was just talking about how his boyfriend disappeared in the snap. So yeah, like I do get that. Maybe that was.
I'll have to reread the article, but they had like some points outlined about how she was so prominent in the promotional material and
wasn't
used at all.
Tweet it out. I'd like to see that. Yeah, if you see that again. Now I can only describe when the comeback happened and you just saw everyone come out. Like, we knew it was coming. We knew it was happening.
First person through the gate was Black Panther.
But, like, as soon as it happened, it was fucking visceral. You felt it fucking here in your chest and you're like, and it lasted so long. And then the music in the background, you're just like, oh my God. And then it was fantastic. I loved every second of it.
Were ye all expecting Doctor Strange to be the first person out through the circles?
Yeah, because they're his circles. Yeah. Well, him and the other wizards.
I just thought he was in the back spinning.
Yeah, maybe like I popped. Biggest pop for me was Wong. When I saw Wong walk out, I was like, "Yeah, get your fucking scream time." Boy.
They're getting everyone in here.
Get it.
Fucking Pepper Potts debuted as female Iron Man.
She fucking spoiled that with an Instagram post a few months back.
Oh no. Fuck's sake. But yeah, no.
You could see it from the start of the movie.
Yeah, you kind of knew it was
Tony's daughter has her helmet on.
Yeah.
While mommy doesn't wear anything ever.
I didn't cop that at all.
I think that was the little thing of dusting it. Right, she made a fuck up by posting it on social media, and then there was a shitstorm around it being like, oh yeah, Gwyneth Paltrow's after ruining it. So I think that scene was a kind of a smoke and mirrors kind of like wink. Yeah, we're not actually doing it, guys, because she gave it the rose, so she's not going to put on the suit. But yeah, they gave us the suit anyway.
The battle, we loved it. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect.
I think, and I know again, like I had a lot of people coming up to me saying, I didn't. I had a few people say to me online that they preferred Infinity War than Endgame, like as a whole, like. And
this is interesting.
I don't even think of it that way.
Yeah,
I think of it as like all one big thing. It's the same story.
Two halves of
So like it's like saying like fucking I really like my left leg better than I like my right leg. Well, fucking we're only one of them. You're only hopping, like, so the full story is a walk.
That's like what my wife was saying, that she didn't like Endgame, and she said they should have made it into two movies. Like, they did.
It's literally two movies.
They should have made Endgame into two movies. Like, Laura, I said, it's not about the other people. It's not about the Doctor Stranges or the Spider-Mans or even the Guardians of the Galaxy. It was about Tony. It's about Iron Man. It's about Thor.
The original Avengers.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
So those are the ones who are going to be more prominent in it than anybody else. She says, but what about, the stuff with Nebula and whatnot? I was like, well, they had to have other stuff in it. It couldn't be just them. But I said, you couldn't get literally every single superhero to talk in the movie. I said it would have been impossible. Yeah. I said it had to be 4 hours long, and then Rick would have had to have 3 pisses then.
Yeah.
And that would have been the end of that.
You better hope your missus doesn't listen to this, so you're sleeping on the couch.
I told her specifically.
Giving out on the podcast.
I feel that 3 hours went by so quick for me on that. Like, I didn't think it didn't feel like a 3 hour long film because I was engrossed in it. Like. Maybe on my rewatch it'll feel long, but on the night, I fucking absolutely loved it. It pissed in. It wasn't that I didn't even use that. That just happened. But for me, when you talk about like that film could have been 2 films, I don't think that film could have been or should have been 2 films, because in 3 hours they fleshed it out so well. You got all the characters that you needed to get for that film. Like we're going to see more Guardians, and we're going to see like more stuff coming. But this was basically the end game for the likes of Tony and the likes of Captain, and it's the rebirth of, like, you know, as you say, Phase 4 is coming up, so it's kind of a rebirth, and everybody's getting a little something. And like when it comes down to Disney having this new channel, so we're going to get like WandaVision Disney and Plus, fucking Falcon and Bucky, and like, so we're going to get a few different things. So like the film was setting up for all this stuff as well. Like, if you're going to talk about a film that could have been 2 films, like, I'll give you the example of Spider-Man 3, which they basically the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans, where they basically sandwiched in a Venom storyline into the Sandman storyline, because there was pressure from the fucking whatever, like the guys, the suits, because Venom was a popular character in the comics and people wanted him, and so they're like, right, well, we're going to sandwich that in, and then you've got a film now that you're watching and you're like, pick a storyline, guys, pick a fucking storyline. But with Endgame, I was like, I'm following all of this, and it doesn't feel like anything's been crammed in, and it also didn't feel like anything was being stretched out, or anything was being kind of fucking, like, the gags hit and then on to the next one, and then the emotional scenes hit and on to the next one, and it didn't feel rushed, and it didn't feel slow, and it just felt like a nice flowing story. It was like I was on a fucking barge and I was being brought down that fucking canal, and I didn't need to fucking speed up or slow down, or I didn't need to say a war, I didn't need to say fucking carry on. It was just a lovely pace for me, and I thought it was a perfectly timed film.
And what an achievement after 22 movies. Amazing. Guys, it absolutely pissed in for us, and we need to piss off now. So what better way to
just finish it now, because you do need a piss.
You notice? It's all this talk. Guys, thank you so much. I've had a lot of fun talking Game of Thrones Avengers. It's been a great week. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. We're sorry we didn't get to your questions. We just talked so much. We will be back next week talking Game of Thrones episode 4, but until then,
I'm Chris Pratt, by the way. If you're going to say, like, which member of Endgame is Irish wrestling, yeah, I'm Star-Lord, that's it.
I'm Black Widow pre-death.
I've got to be Fat Thor.
Nailed it, can't top it. There, repeat, guys. Until next time, for Rick Nash, Katie Harvey, Justy and Gerry, thanks for joining us, guys. That's the bottom line, because Loblo said so.